early 20th century, when vast parts of Africa remained wild and mysterious, a wealthy diamond field owner named John Rand was flying across the continent. His destination was Cairo. With him were his wife Constance and their 3-year-old son David. None of them knew that this peaceful flight would soon become a struggle for survival in one of the most dangerous jungles on Earth. As the aircraft passed over the deep jungles of the Belgian Congo, something went terribly wrong. The engine began to sputter. Smoke filled the cockpit. The airplane trembled as it lost power. John Rand quickly realized the terrible truth. The plane was going down.
Constance, hold David! I'm gonna land! The noise can't hold it. The engine's shaking the planes apart hard!
The small aircraft plunged toward the jungle canopy. It smashed through branches and towering trees. Then with a violent crash, the airplane struck the jungle floor. For a few seconds, the jungle was silent. Then slowly, the forest came alive again. Birds cried from the treetops. Wind whispered through the leaves. Inside the wreckage, the survivors began to move.
Constance. David.
Are you hurt?
Miraculously, none of them were seriously injured, but they were stranded in the heart of the African jungle, hundreds of miles from civilization, and rescue would not come easily. Very soon, John Rand noticed something unusual. Little David seemed completely unafraid of the jungle. The strange sounds, the towering trees, even the wild animals watching from the branches. None of it frightened him. One afternoon, a deadly emerald-green snake crept silently through the grass. Its eyes were fixed on David. The danger moved closer and closer. John Rand reacted instantly. His pistol fired. The snake fell lifeless in the grass. The boy had been saved.
Daddy, he's my friend.
Days slowly turned into weeks. Using pieces of the broken aircraft, John Rand built a shelter for his family. Water was nearby. Fuel supplies were still available. Little by little, the stranded family began learning how to survive in the wild jungle. John Rand believed rescue planes would soon find them. Search teams would surely be looking. All they needed to do was wait.
John! I hear a plane!
I'll light the signal fire!
Smoke rose high above the trees. John waved desperately toward the sky, but the pilot never saw them. The rescue plane passed overhead and disappeared into the distance. The plane returned the next day, and again the day after that, but each time it flew farther away, until finally, the rescue plane stopped coming. Then another danger of the jungle appeared. A deadly tropical fever. Constance fell terribly ill. Day by day, her strength faded as the fever consumed her body. Soon, the jungle claimed its first victim. Constance Rand was gone. Little David gathered the sweetest flowers he could find and placed them gently on his mother's grave. One terrible night, a violent storm swept across the jungle. Lightning flashed across the sky. Thunder shook the earth. Then a blinding bolt struck a gigantic baobab tree. The enormous tree crashed toward the shelter. John Rand shoved David aside just in time, but the falling trunk struck him with tremendous force. John Rand survived the accident, but the blow to his head changed him forever. From that day forward, he believed the jungle was their true home. He no longer dreamed of rescue. And slowly, the jungle began shaping young David as well. Years passed in the endless wilderness. Little David grew strong beneath the African sun. The jungle had become his teacher. He could swim like the fish of the rivers, climb trees with the agility of monkeys, and move through the forest as silently as the wind. The boy who once arrived as a helpless child had become a true son of the jungle. His father still remembered the ways of civilization, and though his mind had changed, some instinct deep within him drove him to teach David. The boy learned to read, he learned to write, and he learned the most important rule of the jungle: kill only when necessary. The animals of the jungle no longer feared him. They recognized him as one of their own. David learned to communicate with strange sounds and calls, and soon he could calm even the wildest creatures. From that day forward, he lived a happier life among the beasts of the forest. One afternoon, while swimming in the lake, David suddenly saw a massive shape rising from the water. It was Wallam, the great hippopotamus. For a moment, the boy froze, but instead of attacking, the giant beast slowly returned to the water. Another day, David saw the great gray giant of the jungle, the mighty elephant Traja. The boy watched with wonder. One day, he hoped he might even ride upon that powerful back. One afternoon, a buzzard circled above the forest. The bird's strange flight caught David's attention. Something was wrong. In the jungle, buzzards often meant death. Following the buzzard's flight, David discovered something shocking. The mighty Ka-Zar, king of the jungle, was trapped in deadly quicksand. The powerful beast struggled helplessly. Each movement pulled him deeper into the sucking sand. Most creatures would have fled in terror, but David remembered something. This lion had never harmed him, and the boy could not ignore the desperate look in the animal's eyes. Working quickly, David pushed fallen branches into the quicksand. Slowly, the lion climbed onto them, inch by inch. The mighty beast pulled himself free. For several moments, the jungle stood silent. The lion stared at the boy who had saved his life, and in that quiet moment, a strange bond was formed. From that day forward, Zar would remember the human who rescued him. Not long after that day, something unusual appeared in the jungle. Smoke. Someone else was here. Humans. Hidden among the trees, David and his father watched the strangers. Two native workers scooped gravel from the stream. A fat white man stood nearby, watching them closely. These men were searching for something valuable.
This jungle is sacred ground! Leave this place!
The white man's name was Paul de Craft, a greedy explorer with a cruel heart. When Rand turned to leave, de Craft quietly raised his gun. But he did not fire, not yet.
Emeralds! That's what we've found in this cursed jungle!
Find their camp. If they're alone, shh, we'll deal with them.
At dawn the next day, de Craft and his men attacked. Gunshots shattered the quiet jungle. Soon the Rand family's hut burned in towering flames. John Rand had been shot. Badly wounded, he struggled across the ground. David rushed to help his father as the flames consumed their home.
I don't want any witnesses. You're both gonna die.
Suddenly, a terrifying roar echoed through the jungle. It was Zar. The lion had come. Zar attacked with explosive fury. Two of the attackers fell before the mighty beast. The others fled in terror. Paul de Craft barely escaped with his life.
Too late, my son. I'm dying.
With his father gone, David was alone. The jungle clearing that had once been his home was now nothing but ashes. The last link to his old life had disappeared. Zar sensed the boy's grief. The lion approached slowly and gave a low rumbling call. It was an invitation. From that day forward, the Jungle Boy would no longer be known simply as David. Among the beasts of the jungle, he became Ka-Zar, brother of Zar the Mighty, and together they disappeared into the endless wilderness to begin a new legend of the jungle.